friends, you're listening to the Shattered Ceilings podcast with your hosts Stephanie and Adriana. We're here to discuss the importance of mental health from the perspective of two first-generation immigrants. Join in weekly as we dive into important topics such as relationships, parenting, and cultural barriers. Here, we get real and candid as we explore what disrupting the status quo looks like for each of us. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today's a fun one because it's my last episode for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit. Don't have too much fun without me.
Oh, I'll miss you. Everybody's going to miss you.
Yeah.
You're going on maternity leave, right?
Yes. I don't know how long. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll play it by ear.
Let's pray for a healthy and a happy baby.
Amen. Yes.
So next time you guys will see me, I won't have my huge bump anymore. Hopefully I will be less swollen and with a baby in my arms.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
I know, it's kind of scary, but we're not going to think about it. Anyways, today is also fun because we're going to be talking about personality types. If you know me, I love talking about personality types. It's just so fun for me, and I feel like I love learning about myself, and this is like a resource, I guess, to learn more about yourself.
Yes.
So other than just learning about yourself, you're also learning about your personality types, and it helps you kind of make decisions about your career, relationships, personal development, which are all such big aspects in our life.
Yes.
And it also helps improve communication and empathy with dealing with others. So we're going to start off with the basics. What exactly are personality types and why are they important?
Okay, so this is like taking me back to like way the beginning of my bachelor's, talking about personality, because there's so many different factors that play into it, whether it's like the environment you grow up in, genetics, but I honestly think that it's like a combination of everything. And like Adriana said, it's so important because we're huge proponents of self-awareness on the show.
Yes.
So I feel like the more self-aware you are, the more you can kind of work on what you need to work on
And be a better version of yourself.
Absolutely. So personality types are just simply a way to categorize and describe the different ways that people tend to think, feel, and also, most importantly, behave. They help us understand why we are the way we are and how we can relate to others. It's kind of like, if you think about personality types, the building blocks of who we are. Like I said, they're a combination of genetic factors, life experiences, and also our individual preferences, and they really just provide insights into each of our strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, which can be, like I said, super valuable for personal growth and self-awareness. So there's a bunch of different models for understanding personality types. Some examples would be Myers-Briggs type personality test, the Big 5 personality traits, Enneagram. So each model just kind of offers a unique perspective on personality and has like minor tweaks. But today we're going to be diving into Myers-Briggs and the Enneagram.
Yes, my favorite.
Yeah, Adriana is going to talk about the Enneagram. And we're going to start off with the Myers-Briggs. So the Myers-Briggs test divides people into 16 personality types based on their preferences. And it's basically extroversion, introversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, and judging / perceiving. And just like some background, Myers-Briggs was developed by Catherine Cook Briggs and her daughter, Isabel, in the mid-20th century. It's like widely used in various settings. If you've ever heard of personality tests, maybe the first one you've heard of is Myers-Briggs. It's used a lot in like career counseling, team building, and it helps individuals understand themselves better and their interactions with others.
Yeah, I feel like at school, that's when they first did it. Like, oh, do you want to know what you want to be when you grow up?
I did
Take
it in
this
school
test.
too. Yeah.
So I don't think it helped me because I don't really remember. It was a long time ago. And I think when you're young, not that you don't care about your personality type, but I think the older you get, the more like cool it is learning about yourself.
I agree. So first, we have what's called extroversion and introversion. So you guys have obviously heard of this. Extroverts tend to be super outgoing and energized by social interactions, while introverts gain energy from solitude and introspection. So I think we all know super extrovert and super introvert, and usually they end up marrying each other.
Yeah, opposites attract and they balance each other out.
Yes. And then secondly, we have sensing and intuition. Sensing types rely on concrete information and their 5 senses, while intuitive people focus on patterns, possibilities, and like a big picture. And then the third dichotomy is thinking and feeling. Thinkers make decisions based on logic and anything that's objective. And then perceiving types, feelers prioritize personal values and emotions. So again, I think that we can probably all think of somebody that's either super logical or super emotional. So again, it just depends where you are on that spectrum. And then lastly, we have judging and perceiving. People prefer structure, organization, and closure, while perceiving types are like adaptable people, spontaneous, go with the flow, and open to new information.
Cool. I want to talk about what I'm going to say we are, because we're actually very similar.
Yeah, I honestly think we're the same.
I think we are the same. I retook the test just to make sure.
Yeah. I took it a while ago, and I was INFJ, which is intuitive. Gosh, I can't think of right now but INFJ is,
it's okay.
is what it's made up of. And I remember I was the same as one of my sisters, who's like the most introverted out of us 5, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense, but at the same time, it makes sense because we get along the most. Yeah. So if you tend to be like the same personality type as someone, most likely you'll get along really well.
Okay, so that's why I retook it, and it gave me ENFJ. Okay. Which I'm like, am I an extrovert? Mm-hmm. And Stephanie's an introvert, and then we kind of talked about it, and we're like, no.
Yeah, I think it's time for me to retake it.
I think we can like rebalance. I feel like I can be introverted when I want to, but I'm also extroverted.
Yeah, I don't know. That makes sense.
I definitely get overwhelmed by people, and I need to like recharge, but I don't think I could always be alone because I love community. So it's like,
that's a good point.
I think I go back and forth.
You might, and I think honestly, that's why I think personality types, the super structured ones, kind of don't tend to work, maybe because you change a lot in your life, and then also it could just be you have different like preferences. Like, I think most important is where you recharge. Okay, and like, it's really weird because my husband, he seems very extroverted.
I was gonna ask, is because you said balances, like, so you're balanced.
He seems super extroverted. He's very friendly and outgoing, but he doesn't recharge in social settings. He recharges when he's by himself.
So he's more introverted than you are.
And then I seem super introverted because I'm not as outgoing or outspoken as him. Yeah. But I like to recharge in social settings. Yeah. That's like, so funny. It's weird. Even like when we had our first child, and like we didn't get that adult interaction for a long time, I was like, please, we need to go out with like friends, with other people.
Adults.
Yeah, and he's like, no, I literally just want to watch a movie at home. So it's kind of interesting how it depends even like your different facets of personality. So I feel like you could kind of go back and forth with that.
Yeah. I think James is definitely introverted.
James is 100% an introvert.
There's no question about it.
I wish I knew. I wish it was that simple.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. But that's why I feel like I can relate to him sometimes. Like, okay, yeah, let's stay home, and like we had a crazy weekend. Mm-hmm. But I realize I'm the type to like, hey, I'm home all day. I need to go to Target. I need to go like see someone. He was like, you're looking at me, and I'm like, no, I need to see someone else because I'm gonna go crazy.
That's how I am. Yeah, that's how I am too. So we might both be at ENFJs. It's time to take it again for me, I think.
Yeah, I like that you can also be similar to people, but then we're gonna talk about Enneagram. Mm-hmm. We're completely opposite Enneagram. So I think obviously every personality, it's not like cookie cutter, like this is who you are, but you do learn more about yourself. So I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I really want to talk about the Enneagram. So go ahead and take it away with that, Adriana.
Awesome. I'm kind of going to just recap on what it is. So it is an ancient system of personality types that outline 9 core personality types. And they're very distinct on their characters and their motivations. And unlike other systems, the Enneagram explores not just what you do, but why you do it, which I think is why I like it.
Yes.
Because when I read about it, I'm like, this is why I do it.
It literally expands on the Myers-Briggs. So if the Myers-Briggs is kind of just like a rough outline, the Enneagram goes so much more into depth.
Yes. Which I know we have a little resource thing, and it's actually like Christian based.
Mm-hmm. Let's link it. We're gonna link it.
Can we do that? I know nothing about technology. Like, we'll just put it.
It's really good. Adriana sent it to me, and we'll link it in all the show notes. I got it
from my therapist, or I don't know where someone gave it to me, but that has helped me a lot, especially because it is like Christian focused. So yeah, with that being said, they are labeled with numbers from 1 to 9, and each number has a unique set of traits and tendencies. For example, type 1 is often seen as a perfectionist.
Yes, unfortunately.
That's not unfortunate. I read it and I was like, yeah. And then type 4 is like an individualist who seeks like authenticity and depth in life. They're all so different. If you haven't taken it yet, I advise people to take it.
You've been telling me for so long, and I haven't taken it until today.
Well, okay, this is why I also, even people I just meet or like friends, because it helps me understand them more. And I'm always like, I think they're a 3 or I think they're this. And then once you take it, I'm like, okay, confirmed. I knew you were a 1, but I was like, I wonder what your wing is.
I should have asked you.
No, I knew.
That's funny.
I was like, I'm curious. So what's also cool is you're not just your number. You're definitely like, they give you a wing. Usually. Actually, James is a straight 5. He has no wing. I was like, take it again. He's like, I don't have a wing. I'm like, all right. So I guess you can be just a number, but it's very common for you to have a wing. So your wing is the type that influences your personality, and it adds nuances to your primary type. Additionally, the Enneagram acknowledges that individuals can operate at different levels of development with their type, from unhealthy to healthy, which I also loved because you could tell when you're like being toxic and you're like, okay, there's good and bad for each personality, and it like made you aware.
So you're not like excusing yourself, like, this is my personality type.
I'm very against, and I hate when people, even like with their horoscope, like,
I'm just a Scorpio.
Yes, and I'm like, I mean, that's a whole different thing. I don't believe in horoscopes and all of that. But when people are like, oh, I'm just like a 3 Enneagram, it's like, okay, maybe your tendencies are to do that, but it doesn't excuse you.
You can also be an unhealthy
behavior.
3,
Yeah, I'm like, toxic.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I am a 3 with a wing 2.
Okay.
I also heard the older you get, you can, like, flip it.
I want to look that up, actually. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm curious.
Like, scared you're going to judge me.
No, I just want to know the characteristics.
I feel like I grew up and, like, I was definitely more 3, but I feel like the older I get, I see more of a 2 in me.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
I can pull it up too.
Do you think you've changed in that aspect?
I just feel like also going through different seasons in life, you tend to be more in like, I don't know, a different season, and you're more drawn to different things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll kind of say an overview on 3s.
Okay.
I don't like talking about myself, and it's like awkward sometimes. But I'll read. The 3 is the achiever, and the 2 is the helper.
Okay.
So 3s are success-oriented, image-conscious, and wired for productivity. They're motivated by the need to be successful and avoid failure.
Wow.
2s are warm, caring, and giving. They're motivated by a need to be loved and needed and avoid acknowledging their own needs.
That is you.
So,
no, really, like, that's crazy.
it's very on point when they talk about like our weaknesses and strengths. And again, learning about what I was, it was like so on spot, because I read all the other ones and I'm like, no, these are like definitely me too. And it helped me grow into a healthier version of that, of like why I do the things I do. And instead of excusing it, it like helped me
notice
and prevent when I'm being unhealthy.
Okay.
It's not good. So
what does unhealthy 3-wing 2 look like? Sorry if I'm putting you on the spot.
You're like, let's see if you're toxic or not.
No, I think it might be like interesting.
It is. Let me see if I can.
Okay, I found something.
You're like, I have. You're my therapist today.
No, I just think that's so interesting.
I have an idea of what it's like to be toxic.
Okay, go ahead.
For sure, for 3s.
Okay.
Obviously, being motivated by success sounds nice, but I think it could easily become toxic because you're just focused on you.
So it does say, unhealthy 3-wing 2s may appear somewhat narcissistic.
Yeah,
okay.
Which is obviously not a good thing to do.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you're like, you're a narcissist.
No, unhealthy, but no, you're not.
No,
like
I know.
that.
So I do know being only caring about success, caring about what people like perceive you as, can also be negative, because only if you care more about what other people think about you than yourself. And I think when you're younger, you care more about what people perceive you as. So that's why the older I get, the more I'm like, I don't care. You just stop caring. And I'm sure now once I'm a mom, I'm really gonna care less.
Yeah.
So another thing is, it's good. Number 3s are really like adaptable, but that can come off as like you're manipulating people, and you're, because I was good in social settings, and then I would like leave the group and someone's like, are you like being fake? You were so energetic and now you're not. And I was like,
so it's like you're a chameleon.
Yeah, but I don't think, I think it can be toxic if you're using that as like your advantage, or like if you're not being genuine.
But that's actually a huge strength.
That's what I was like, I'm generally like, if I'm in this group setting, I can act like this, and then the next group, I was like, I don't know, this is just how I am.
Yeah, I think that's great. I don't think that's. I think
try being the healthy version of it. But
I think that is a healthy characteristic, but anything to an extreme is going to be negative.
I know. Or anything of a good thing can also be a little bit negative too.
Yeah.
With 2s, I didn't look too much into it just because I feel like that was my wing, but now I'm more of a 2. I do know that, let me see. Because they want to help people and like fulfill other people's needs and desires, you become a people person, which we always talk about how toxic that can be. And you start creating like a dependency on people and like helping people, which again sounds good, but to a certain extent, where if that's where you find your identity of like helping people, I think it can get kind of toxic and unhealthy for personalities. And I think can also overwork you. I have a lot of friends that are 2s. We talked about this.
The friendship episode?
Yeah, the friendship. Alice and Michelle are both 2s.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, I would say I love them to death, and they do so much for people, but then when I see people taking advantage over them, and then they're like, I'm so tired in this, it's like, you kind of did that to yourself.
Wow, interesting. I didn't know they were both 2s, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess most of my friends are 2s.
Really?
That's why I want to talk about yours. When you have a wing 2, I was like,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I am type 1. Honestly, it shocked me, but then I read through it and I'm like, this doesn't shock me at
You're
all.
like, I'm reading about myself.
The perfectionist in me was like, this is not accurate enough. No, I'm kidding. It's accurate.
Yes.
So type 1, and then I got, I'll just say what type 1 is basically. I guess I can look it up really quick.
I have a little line while you're looking.
Yeah, go ahead.
1s are ethical, dedicated, reliable. They are motivated by a desire to live the right way, improve the world, and avoid fault and blame.
Yeah, so it's
perfectionist.
Yeah, it is. And then I got a wing 9 and wing 2 were both equal, which is like really weird because they're kind of opposite. Like type 1 wing 9 is the optimist, which is like idealistic, relaxed, introverted, and then one wing 2 is the activist, and they're like extroverted.
Yeah,
so
they're like the helper and the caregiver. Yeah.
But I definitely see, like, just reading through the traits, they, like, defend and stand up for those around them. And, like, 1 wing 2, I think I relate a little bit more to, like, the advocate, where they're, like, obsessed with making a difference.
Yes. That's why I was like, you're definitely a 1 too.
Yeah. I wish, like, that's something that can definitely be a fault because you can become too obsessive.
Yeah.
And you can't just do something just to do something. Like, I don't even know how to explain that. I guess other people who would be that personality type would understand. Like, I have to do something, like, either to help someone or, like, make a difference. And they're, like, very triggered by injustice, which that's definitely me as well. And then the unhealthy version, which this is so spot on, would be, like, easily growing frustrated with other people because they can be, like, hypercritical. Type 1s, they have a tendency to be image focused, and they have a possibility of becoming self-righteous. And that's something that actually in my spiritual walk, I'm getting like personal here.
No,
that's one of my weaknesses that I like pray a lot. Like,
and you're like aware of it.
Yes,
too.
I'm aware of it, and I like have to stop myself and be like, no, you're being like, too hypercritical of people. So honestly, I'm shocked by this. I can't believe how accurate it is.
It is on point, right?
I should have taken it a long time ago.
Well, okay, it's cool because, again, you learn about yourself and you learn about, like, your weaknesses and, like, what you're drawn to. Because I know 3s, I think, have an addictive personality, too.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, and I know, technically, when you're more into, like, sin, that's, like, where you're drawn into is, like, your things that make you feel the best because it's like a prideful thing.
Okay. You could go so deep into this, I feel like.
That's why I love this file. That's why I was like, I hope everyone takes the test and reads.
Yeah.
But another thing, other than just learning about myself, because not like how much can you really learn, but I loved learning about other people. That's like why when I had my friends, I'm like, can you just take the test?
Yeah.
So, like, I have an idea of what you are. I just kind of want to know. And it helps in relationships and friendships. Like, when I met James, I remember, like, we're on our date, and in my head, I was like, I think he's a 5. And I was like, this is so awkward if I ask him. Like,
on the first date?
But I literally was like, do you know the Enneagram test? And he was like, yeah, I actually love that test. And I was like, oh, thank God. I'm like, okay, what number are you? I'm really curious. And he's like, I'm a 5. And I was like, I knew it. And it just confirmed.
You're really good at that.
Because I feel like I can read people pretty easily. That's why when other people like say they're a different number, I'm like, no, retake it. Like, I'm never wrong.
That's funny.
But no, it was cool to see that like James was like, yeah, I'm a 5. And I was like, okay, that's so cool. And I remember while we were dating, I was like looking or like remembering like, oh, he does this because he is a 5. Like he is more like private. I'll read 5 and you're
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I'm curious to see if you think that's what he is. You should tell Phineas to take it.
I know, I should. I'm really curious. I'm going to have him take it tonight.
Okay, 5s are analytical, detached, and private. They are motivated by the need to gain knowledge, conserve energy, and avoid relying on others.
That is so James.
I literally was like, this is...
Wow,
and that's why he has no other wing. I'm like, he's literally just a 5.
He wants to conserve all the energy and just...
Yes, he's so interesting. But this helps
so
me,
cool.
even though I don't fully understand why he does the things he does, this test like helped me realize like, this is just his personality and this is why he does it. Like it kind of just answered things. Also, my brother is a 5 and I was like the closest to him growing up.
Really? Okay.
And I remembered he was like, he took the test. He's like, I'm a 5. And I was like, oh, okay. And I guess like, I wouldn't compare him and my brother. But like when James did things that my brother would do, I'm like, that's such a 5 thing to do.
Wow, interesting.
And it made it easier because I feel like, I think 5s are difficult, especially since they're so private and quiet. Like when we were dating and the car was quiet, in my head I was like, oh my God, is he mad at me? And then I'm like, what are you thinking about? And he's like, thinking about something. And I'm like, okay, I have nothing to worry about.
That's funny.
I feel like it does help you know your spouse better, or like if you're dating a guy, just to see like how they are and why they do the things they do. Yeah,
and that might also start like the journey into like learning each other's love languages, which is also really important.
Yeah, we talked about that in a different podcast. I think those are like one of the most popular podcasts we did.
Yeah, it was for sure. So we were talking about why you thought personality type was important and how it helped you, and I kind of want you to share.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, we talked about it before we started recording. Honestly, I feel like we're big on being self-aware, and then being in therapy, I feel like, I mean, because my therapist was aware of personality types too. I feel like in school, you guys learn like all of them.
Yeah.
So I remember I would like say something or like, I'm dealing with this, and then it opened doors to like, well, I am like a 3, so I tend to do this, or I tend to think like this. And I feel like me being open about why I'm doing something, or asking her like, am I doing this because this is kind of my personality? And I feel like she was more open about it, and it was kind of like a resource to change and get better. So that really helped me through therapy.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I think personality types are maybe not that common in, I don't know, immigrant communities, or we don't talk about it as much, because I feel like everybody kind of needs to think the same and be the same.
Yeah, like same personality, same, what is that called? Like your future needs to look the same. You need to be a stay-at-home mom. And
this kind of just, I don't know, I think like I said, the importance of it, super important, just finding out more about yourself, being more self-aware, seeing what your strengths, your weaknesses are. Like you said, I think you wrapped it up really perfectly. A lot of people, they obviously probably don't agree with it. It has a lot of criticisms, personality type tests. Some argue that it oversimplifies human behavior and it pigeonholes individuals into rigid categories. But what I like about the Enneagram is the wings and how it kind of just expands on that personality that you are. And I think it's super important for us to like mention, bold, italic, everything, that using personality typing, we should use it as a tool instead of a label. Yeah. Like you said. So that's really important. While personality types can provide valuable insights, it's super important to remember that human behavior is so complex and multifaceted. And like we said, you could be testing as an extrovert but have introvert tendencies. So it just depends, I think, case by case basis.
I think like just don't take it as serious and don't revolve your whole life around it.
Yes.
Some people I kind of wanted to chime it. Some people take it too serious. I know in the Christian community too, maybe more in the immigrant Christian community, I know they're like against personality types sometimes, because they're like, you should not be of this world, or you should be like, obviously we should be having attributes of like being Christian and like having faith and all these things. But again, we all have different personality types. All Christians should not look the same in a sense of like how our walk is with God as well. So it's like, I know there's a fine line where people are very like standoffish and like hate talking about it. Yeah. But again, I think if you use it for positive and for tools and resources, it could be a great thing. And I learned a lot, and I still use this to this day.
Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you for telling me. And I took it finally today because it is important.
Yeah.
And like you said, it just slipped my mind, but everything you said is spot on.
It's okay.
It's been a long week.
It's okay. I was gonna say it's been a long year.
Yes. Yeah, everything was great. We just have to make sure that we don't like neatly categorize people, because we should be cautious about making sweeping generalizations based on personality types. But it is important to know, and like you said, some Christians don't agree with it, but God didn't make us robots. Like, he obviously created all of us with such different personalities for a reason.
No one's the same.
Yeah, and I think that our walk on this earth is also finding out about first of all, our purpose, finding our purpose in Christ, but also figuring out what makes us tick, each as human beings. And it helps us connect with each other better and know ourselves better. And like you said, those strengths and weaknesses. So, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I just advise people to take the test and read into it. Again, Steph will link and do all of that tech stuff.
Yep.
But again, I think it's super interesting, and I like that it's like Christian faith-based. And yeah, we can talk about it forever when it comes to like, if you're the same person and same personalities, that's like, oh, that's why we click, or that's why we just get it. And it's like, yeah, we're again similar, but not like the same people. So. Yeah.
I love it. I'm glad we did this topic because Adriana had a lot of good stuff to share. So thank you. Thank you guys so much for listening today. Like we said, it's going to be our last one with Adriana for a couple weeks.
Just for a little.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Oh, you better.
I'm not leaving.
We wish you an amazing labor and delivery and the baby to come safely. We're praying for you. We can't wait to see him. So thank you guys for watching today. Go ahead and subscribe on all of the platforms. If you have any suggestions about today's episode or previous ones, you can leave us a suggestion in our anonymous box, which is linked in our link tree in our Instagram. We will be back with an episode again in 2 weeks. If you guys have noticed, we've been doing every 2 weeks.
We're busy, girls.
Yeah, we're busy. And also, I just think we have a lot of info, and it just helps you guys be caught up.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you back next week.